Alrighty, welcome into Getting Technical, brought to you by Better and Green. I am Ethan. With me, as always, is Wyatt. Wyatt, we are one day removed from the NFL season officially being over, which means our full-fledged focus is back onto college basketball. So a lot of content to come in the next 2 months or so in the college basketball landscape, but a great slate here on Tuesday night of games. We're going to be talking about four of them. Purdue, Michigan, a ranked Big Ten matchup. We'll have Tennessee and Kentucky in the SEC, followed by Florida, Mississippi State, also in the SEC. And then we're going to talk UConn Creighton, a Big East. UConn just fell out of the rankings, but a big East matchup. So welcome in today. How are you doing? How has the college basketball season treated you thus far?
Yeah, it's been a battle. It's been grueling. Started off hot in college basketball back in November. Had a pretty good December and a decent January. Kind of got a little cold patch here. Hopefully that turns around, but I'm a little nervous with all these new bettors coming in because of the conclusion of the NFL and college football seasons. There's not a whole lot to bet on. So, yeah, a lot of new bettors, a lot of new money entering the pool. So, trying to figure out how that's going to affect the lines and affect the betting splits. But yeah, this is crunch time where February, by the time you're listening to this, February 11th, March Madness starts, I believe, opening weekend is like March 20th or something like that, 19th, 20th. So we're 40 days away from NCAA tournament. Before that we have obviously conference tournaments. So this is a big time of year. Every win counts. Every loss matters. Excited to watch some ball and hopefully win some bets.
Yeah, I'm in need of a big February, big March. It's been a rough little stretch here, but let's get right into it here. We'll talk your team first here. Purdue, 7th ranked in the country at 20th ranked Michigan. Michigan, a small home favorite, looks like -2, over under 150. Big bounce back spot here for Michigan after their matchup a couple weeks ago. Are they gonna get their revenge on Purdue in this one?
Yeah, I was nervous they were going to be the favorite here. Before I knew these lines were out, I was kind of thinking of them in my head. And I was thinking they were going to put Purdue, and I thought they're going to put Purdue as a 1.5 to a 2 point favorite. That's flipped. Michigan is the 2 point favorite at home. Michigan just lost, like you mentioned, 91 to 64. That is by 27 points, literally 2 weeks ago, maybe even less than that, maybe 10. I don't know. 2 weeks ago is probably accurate. They got absolutely destroyed, murdered, not even close. It was after Purdue lost at home. So it was a bounce back spot for them. I This Michigan team pisses me off. They'll be up by 10 in this game, no doubt. They'll also be down by 10 at some point in this game too. They can't keep a lead. They let every single team claw back in. They have a major turnover issue, but I gotta take Michigan at home here. Gotta trust the line. Gotta trust that people notice they lost by 27 and still people are taking Purdue and Michigan's still the favorite. So gotta just trust the system and trust the line movement here and trust that Michigan is going to pull something out of their ass. Again, this could get very ugly. I'm not super sold on Michigan, even though some people are. Can't get over the turnover issues, can't get over the blown leads, can't get over sucking at the end of games. So, very nervous. Don't love this bet. I will be taking Michigan, but my confidence level is as small as it can get on that bet and on this team.
Yeah, I am also on Michigan in this game. I like it quite a bit. But yeah, these two teams are kind of very similar recently. Both teams on a 4-game win streak off a loss. Purdue's 4-game win streak started with Michigan, like you said, about 2 weeks ago, and Michigan's 4-game win streak has been ever since that loss to Purdue. Now Michigan, they lost on the road at Purdue. Now they get them at home. Completely embarrassed in that first game. I mean, it was over 15 minutes in, just a complete blowout, maybe even quicker than that. Um, so just completely embarrassed. That's the last time they had a loss, which I always like that when you've won every single game since that loss, and that's still the most fresh, painful moment on your mind from the season. So I really like that for Purdue or for Michigan. Um, Michigan does have Ohio State on deck, but it's not really a basketball rivalry. I mean, that's all football. They have Michigan State after that, which is I'd say more of their basketball rivalry. But after the way they were embarrassed, there's no look ahead spot here for Michigan. This would be a huge win for their resume. and a huge win and potentially competing and potentially winning the Big Ten. And then meanwhile, Purdue, yeah, they have this Michigan game, a ranked team on the road. But you look ahead on their schedule, it's Wisconsin and then also Michigan State, which um, Michigan's been a great team of years late, but the last couple not so much. And Wisconsin and Michigan State are kind of the two uh, constant teams in the Big Ten that I would say are usually always competing recently. So could be a touch of a look ahead with both of those teams being ranked as well. Purdue feeling like they already took care of Michigan once with ease, can probably just waltz in and do it another time in the Chrysler Center, but don't think it's going to be that easy. So yeah, I like Michigan as well. Lay the 2, or better yet, just take the money line.
Yeah, I'll be on just the money line. I have had a terrible track record recently of getting involved on spreads, and especially this Michigan team. Luckily, I don't bet Michigan spreads anymore, but I will, like I said, be betting this game. The last two Michigan games against Rutgers and against Indiana, they have lost the spread by the hook by 2 3/4 court or longer. Buzzer beaters at the end of the game that didn't matter at all. Both times they were up by 6. Buzzer beater at Rutgers, buzzer beater at Indiana to go up by 3. Both times lost by the hook. So absolutely terrible losses for Michigan recently on covering. So that's why, just in general, it's a 2 point spread. What's the money line going to be? Minus 135 as opposed to minus 110. Just
Right.
lay the extra 25 cents and you'll be more happy than not that you did that.
Right. Yeah, I was gonna bet Indiana plus 3.5, and as Michigan was shooting those free throws, I'm like, oh, thank God I didn't do that. And then the second that kid threw up that shot, I was like, this is gonna go in, isn't it? Sure enough. So yeah, I didn't win anything on it, but we'll move on to our first SEC matchup. Two SEC ranked games going at 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow. We'll start Tennessee at Kentucky, 5th-ranked Volunteers at the 15th-ranked Kentucky Wildcats. I will start on this one, and I am going to take Tennessee on the road. They are a 1.5 point favorite. So again, I'm just going to take the money line here. Um, but you have Tennessee, who just recently, 2 weeks ago, lost to this Kentucky team at home. Again, just like Michigan, this was their most recent loss, the last kind of burn in the back of their mind of a loss on the season. And they lost at home, which I always like when the team loses at home and then they have to travel. I think they're a lot more focused. Whereas Kentucky, they're in the locker room saying, we already beat them on the road. Now we get them at home. So, um, yeah, I really like Tennessee in this game. I think it's a short price. I think Kentucky has the name and the brand attached to them, but Tennessee is just the far superior team here, in my opinion. So yeah, the revenge game on the road. I actually think that's a plus for Tennessee here. You get a cheaper number. Give me Tennessee to win this game outright on the money line.
Yeah, sorry about that. I was shaking my head trying to talk to my wife across the room.
There you go.
Yeah, I like Tennessee quite a bit in this one as well. I'm actually going to go a total on this game, and I don't recommend totals in college basketball, but I think it's a little too good to be true. I'm going to take the under of this one. I believe, and again, at the time of recording, we record on Monday nights, so this is a couple hours before the fact, but the over under is 148.5. And this Tennessee team, everyone knows that they notoriously have pretty good defense. But as of late, they have had some decently high scoring games. Like you said, the 78-75 game one matchup between these two teams ended with 153 points. And everyone knows this Kentucky team is, equivalent to the Alabamas or the Floridas of high scoring offenses. So the fact that this one is actually the second lowest total we're going to talk about is a little alarming. So I like the under. I think this one stays under. I think it's going to be a grueler back and forth. Kind of an ugly defensive game, bad shooting game. It's the only way Tennessee wins games, anyways. So I'm going to take the under here. But I do think Kentucky probably upsets, or not upsets, but wins on the road against Kentucky.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game for sure. So I'm really looking forward to watching that one. And on a split screen, I will have this one on as well. Florida at Mississippi State. Florida, 3rd-ranked in the country, off a win over 1st-ranked Auburn, taking on Mississippi State, 22nd in the country. Looks like Mississippi State is currently a 2.5 point home dog, over under 151.5. I'm struggling with this game, so I'm going to throw it back over to you here. How are you breaking down Florida at Mississippi State?
I'm struggling as well on this one. I'm going a weird prop that I'll get into in a second. It's kind of a prop that I've fallen in love with, and it's very stupid, but it's extremely fun to root for at the end of the game. So I'll get into that shortly. I don't believe in Mississippi State at all. I think they're terrible. I bet on them every time I bet them. I lose the bet. This team sucks, and Florida is very good. They just beat Auburn at Auburn, the best one in the country by far, not even close. They're number 3 in the country now. Um, and yeah, I mean, Mississippi State's 5-5 in the conference. Yeah, they're number 22, but they've lost 5 conference games. I know it's the SEC. I know it's probably the best conference, and it is the best conference in college basketball. Let's be honest. Um, I think Florida should be favored by more. So I'm a little confused of why that is. So my gut says Mississippi State, but I can't back. I've watched this game twice or this team twice, and they are terrible. They are very bad. I don't think they're well coached. I don't think their players are good. I don't know how they're number 22. I doubt they'd be ranked. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make March Madness. This team's bad, and Florida is very good. So I'm a little cautious to take Florida because I think it's a trap of some sort. So I'm going to my stupid bet, my stupid prop. I think it's gonna be a close game. I think Mississippi State's gonna hang in there. So I'm doing either team to win by 1 to 5 points. It's a 10-point window. The line is not out yet, but it should be around plus 150. And that's how I'm going to bet the game. I'm going to do a half a unit on it as opposed to a full unit. And it's just a fun way to kind of root for a close game where I honestly think it's going to be a coin flip come the end. On paper, Florida should win this game by 10 to 20. So I'm a little nervous that Florida does what they're supposed to do and just blows them out. But for some reason, the Mississippi State plays well at home. They beat Auburn last year at home. They beat Tennessee last year at home. They beat someone good at home this year, I think. It's obviously tough to win on the road. So I'm rooting for a close game, either team to win by 1 to 5 points. Again, very stupid. It's an addict's bet, but it's so fun at the end of the game to root for it, especially if it's a close one and it's plus money. So lower your unit size and have some fun is how I'm going to attack that game.
Yeah, I like that prop that you've used it a few times this year, and I know you started off well on it. I think you've
I
lost
stopped
a
making
couple.
videos because they kept losing.
Well, the first couple hit, and yeah, I think it's honestly a smart way to look at, like you said, getting plus money, and if the line is a pick 'em or a point, 2 points, it's a decent way to look. So I do not hate that at all. Yeah, I don't think I'm gonna bet this game, but I'm gonna lean Florida. And again, we're filming, it's 7 o'clock on Monday right now, but pay attention to how North Carolina Clemson goes on Monday, because really it's I'm comparing Duke and Auburn. There's kind of the two untouchables right now in college basketball. Both lost on Saturday. I'm curious to see how Clemson and Florida both bounce back. Um, but something tells me it's not going to be a huge letdown for Florida. I almost feel like they're going to ride momentum. And like you said, I'm just not bought into Mississippi State whatsoever. Um, after this, Florida has South Carolina and Oklahoma on deck, two teams that, well, they already beat South Carolina on the year, have not played Oklahoma, but Oklahoma's struggled recently. I was actually on Oklahoma on Saturday against Tennessee. That did not come close to hitting. But then you get Mississippi State at home, but they're 2-2 in their last games, 0-2 at home, 2-0 on the road. So, what kind of home court advantage does Mississippi State really have? I don't think it's much. You look at the teams they've lost to: Missouri ranked, Alabama ranked, Tennessee ranked, Auburn ranked, Kentucky ranked. The ranked wins they have: a overtime win against Ole Miss, which could have gone either way. Memphis, who's still in the rankings, out of conference back in December, and then Pitt way back in early December, who is nowhere close to the rankings, might not make the tournament at this point. So, yeah, I'm not bought in at all on Mississippi State. Don't love what we're getting with Florida just because I don't know what we're getting. I don't know if we're getting a focus, let's ride the momentum spot, or we partied hard Saturday celebrating the win over number 1 Auburn. So I'm going to leave it alone. But for the graphic, give me Florida to cover the short number.
I think that's the right side for what it's worth.
Yeah, they're way better. They're going to dominate the glass in that game. But let's wrap it up here with our Big East matchup of the night. 9 p.m. Eastern. We have unranked UConn, back-to-back national champions, headed to 24th ranked Creighton, making their first appearance in the top 25 this year. Creighton right around a 3.5-point favorite, over under 143.5. And I will send this one to you as well. Another game I'm kind of struggling with. But what are you like in UConn versus Creighton in a Big East matchup?
Yeah, I kind of think this one's my favorite bet. And it follows all of my things I look for, all my system plays I call them, which aren't really systems, but Creighton's first time in the rankings, 24, or first week in the rankings in a while, number 24. Creighton off a big win against Marquette. Creighton has won 9 straight games. Creighton has St. John's on deck. So kind of fits all the criteria. Win streak, off a big win, first week in the rankings, big opponent on deck. UConn just off a loss to that St. John's team. And now they're a 3.5 point dog. I know UConn's down a bit. I hate rooting for this UConn team. I ultimately think UConn wins this game outright. I will take them happily at the plus 3.5. I If Creighton wins, it's going to be a 1 point, 2 point win. I can't see Creighton blowing out UConn. I know UConn has lost twice in a row before in this season, which is unheard of for the Huskies as of late. But UConn, I think, is in a great spot to get back into the rankings. Get a ranked win, overcome their loss from earlier. Yeah, to St. John's. They also beat. I don't love this one. They beat Creighton earlier this year, 68-63. So I don't love that. That it is a revenge spot for Creighton, but I think UConn's going to get it done. I'll take them at the plus 3.5.
So Creighton did beat UConn.
Creighton beat UConn, so it covers all five.
It is the revenge. Yeah.
Okay. It
Yep.
covers everything there.
Yep.
I have the score. I don't have. I thought it was UConn, but perfect,
Yep.
beautiful.
Yep.
UConn money line, but plus 3.5 for safety.
Yeah. Safety first. I am with you on UConn. I don't love it quite as much, but and really the only reason why I don't love it is because I just think UConn still gets the love because of the back-to-back championships, the name, their image. But yeah, Creighton absolutely rolling right now. Like you said, 9 straight. I'm bummed I didn't take them. I was just so busy on Saturday. I only had 2 bets, but I liked them against Marquette. That was, we just talked about with Michigan and Tennessee. It was their most recent loss of their schedule was Marquette, and they had the chance to get their revenge at home, and they did it. Um, yeah, they do have St. John's on deck. I really wish they had lost to St. John's. They won that game 57-56, so they squeaked one out. If it was a team that they had lost to, I really, really would like UConn with that kind of revenge factor on deck there. But yeah, I don't love the spot here for Creighton. Like you said, entering the top 25 for the first time. We always kind of like to fade that. UConn off the loss to St. John's. Seton Hall on deck, who is having a really, really down year in the Big East. So no look ahead. Yeah, I think, UConn has struggled this year, but they're still kind of the class of the Big East. Creighton struggled early. They're getting hot at the right time. It might take them to a Big East title. We'll see how the season wraps up. But yeah, give me UConn plus the points here. Again, nothing I'm rushing to bet. I'm gonna kind of see how the splits are and see how the money comes in and how the line moves throughout the day tomorrow. See if I'll get involved. But yeah, I like UConn plus the 3.5. Also think they win this one outright.
It's always a tough one to root for UConn, but you got to sometimes put your heart aside and bet with your brain. But yeah, very excited for this day of college basketball.
Yeah, and it is we could go on all night talking about all these games here. We have a ton of, SEC, more Big Ten. I'm really into the West Coast Conference this year, those late night games, always playing on Tuesday. So great games across the board. But yeah, those are the ones we're talking about here. Why, anything else before we get out of here?
Do you want to touch on your boy Ti?
Yeah, I'll touch on it quick. Yeah, Tom Izzo, as of Saturday, off the big comeback win against Oregon, tied Bob Knight for the most Big Ten wins ever. I believe it's 353 might be the number. But now, conveniently, they are at home against Indiana, Bob Knight's old team, with a chance to take sole possession of the most Big Ten wins in college basketball history. So they're a huge favorite. They're 11.5. I like the spread. I really like the money line. I mean, use it as a parlay piece, or if you just want to really load up on it. I mean, I don't typically recommend that, but I just really like Michigan State. especially off the Oregon win. It was a gritty come from behind, down 14, ended up winning it by 12. They have not faced adversity and come back from it at all this season. That was their first time. So I think it showed a lot of heart, a lot of grit out of that team. And they're going to be playing so hard for Izzo at the Breslin Center tomorrow. So, yeah, I would find a way to play Michigan State. Maybe look for them in the first half because they did allow 50 to Oregon in the first half. So I think they come out, really shut Indiana down early, get out to a nice big lead, kind of coast from there for Izzo's record-breaking win. So it's kind of the way I'm looking at Michigan State tomorrow.
Yeah. Thank you for still being on here with me after I sent a screenshot of Michigan State's halftime score against Oregon. They were getting destroyed, and I had Michigan State money line. I was really, really, really upset, and Michigan State came storming back and won. So thank you for still being here, because that's sports for you. I get every single chance I can to not knock at State, and I think I'm responsible for that win and cover. 8.5 point cover by State. They're being down by what, 18.5, something like that. 14. Yeah. They saw my tweet and it motivated them at halftime.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you. I should be thanking you.
Yeah. You're welcome.
If it goes poor tomorrow, start getting on that Twitter because we're gonna need some motivation. But guys, that is going to wrap it for this episode of Getting Technical. Should have some more episodes out maybe later this week. I'll have to look at the Thursday slate, but Saturday loaded slate. Number 1 Auburn against number 2 Alabama. It's going to be a fantastic game. Might go live Saturday morning or might have a show out for that. But yeah, it's a fun one. That'd be a great football matchup back in the day, and now we have it in the basketball world. So nice little rivalry there, 1 versus 2. Going to be a great weekend of college hoops. Yeah, stay tuned for our other shows, MMA, UFC, with Ben and Bobby, and then we'll try to get some NBA out here and there, some NHL now that football is over. But guys, until then, good luck betting the Tuesday night board. Good luck with the rest of your bets, and we'll see you in the next episode.
You better start listening to the Better in Green podcast. You will not regret it. Trust me, trust me, trust me. And hey, I'm Dean Blandino.
Welcome to Better in Green, to Better in Green, to Better in Green, listening to cash out, that's what it's all about. Come on, let's make cash now. We always on spot and we cover old spot from the bottom to the top. Hey, shout out to Ethan, shout out to Wyatt, shout out to Ben. Welcome to our podcast, Better in Green.